Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the English Learning Podcast. I'm Tom, and as always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host,
Jenna. Hi folks, really glad to be back with you. We're super excited to help you grow your English skills in real, practical ways.
Absolutely. And today, we're diving into a topic that I know almost everyone struggles with, no matter where you're from, time management. So Jenna, how do you feel about tackling this one?
Honestly, Tom, time management has been both my best friend and my worst enemy at different points in life. I love that we get to share some real strategies with our listeners today.
You know, Jenna, it's wild how just about every student I've met says they wish they had more time. Why do you think time management is so important, especially for language learners?
It's huge. When you're learning a language, you're juggling so much: reading, listening, speaking, maybe even work and family too. If you don't carve out time, those goals just kind of float in the background and never really move forward.
That totally rings true for me. Back in college, I tried cramming everything in at the last minute. And honestly, my progress was so slow. It felt like running on a treadmill that never went anywhere.
The treadmill analogy is perfect, Tom. I think that's why making a simple plan, even just a list, can help shift things from wishful thinking to real action.
That actually reminds me, sometimes it's not about having too little time, but about how we lose it. Jenna, can you think of any time wasters that sneak up on you?
Oh, social media is my Achilles heel. I'll just check one message and suddenly 30 minutes are gone. Sometimes I even convince myself it's English practice if I'm watching videos, but really I'm just procrastinating.
I've totally done that. I tell myself that reading random articles counts as productive, but half the time I forget what I read 5 minutes later.
Exactly. It's so easy to confuse activity with real progress. Recognizing those habits is the first step to changing them, though.
Funny you say that, because once I started focusing on my top priorities, everything changed. How do you decide what actually matters when you're planning your study time?
I usually ask myself, what's one thing I can do today that'll have the biggest impact? For example, if I have a speaking test coming up, I'll focus on practicing conversation instead of just reading grammar rules.
That makes sense. I think people sometimes get overwhelmed by trying to do everything at once. Picking just one or two things can feel way more manageable.
Absolutely. It's like having a closet full of clothes, but wearing your 3 favorite shirts all the time. You get more use out of the essentials.
So let's talk nuts and bolts. How do you actually build a schedule that sticks? Because I've made some amazing plans that lasted about a day.
Been there. What works for me is starting super small. I'll commit to just 10 minutes a day and put it in my calendar. Once that feels easy, I add more time. Consistency always beats intensity for me.
10 minutes is so doable, even on a busy day. I've noticed that when I keep my expectations realistic, I'm less likely to give up altogether.
Exactly. It's better to study a little every day than burn out after one marathon session. Plus, it builds a habit, and habits are where the magic happens.
On the topic of habits, do you use any tools or apps to stay on track? I've experimented with so many, but I always come back to the old-fashioned checklist.
I'm the same way. I love a good checklist, but I also use reminder apps like Google Keep or even just the alarm on my phone. Sometimes a simple beep is all it takes to get me back on track.
There's something so satisfying about crossing off a finished task. I've even started using sticky notes around my desk for quick reminders.
Sticky notes are underrated. It doesn't have to be fancy. Whatever helps you remember your goals works. Sometimes analog beats digital.
Now, I wish I could say I never procrastinate, but that'd be a lie. What do you do when you just don't feel motivated to study at all?
Motivation is slippery, honestly. When I hit a wall, I tell myself to just do 5 minutes. Usually, once I start, I end up going longer. The hardest part is often just starting.
That's so true. I've noticed that the more I put something off, the bigger it seems in my head. But once I actually begin, it's rarely as terrible as I imagine.
Exactly, Tom. I also try to forgive myself if I miss a day. Beating myself up just makes me want to quit. Progress over perfection every time.
That leads into something I think a lot of our listeners face, balancing English study with work, family, or just life in general. How do you find that balance, Jenna?
Honestly, it's a moving target. Sometimes I can dedicate an hour, and other weeks it's just a few minutes in the car. I try to weave French into my daily routines, like listening to podcasts while cooking.
I like that idea, making language learning part of your normal day, not just a separate chore. Even little things, like thinking about grocery lists in English, can add up.
Absolutely. Small changes can make a big difference over time. It's more about persistence than perfection, especially when life gets busy.
Switching gears a little, how do you stay motivated over the long haul? I find that celebrating even tiny wins keeps me moving forward.
That's such a great point. I actually keep a little journal and write down my wins like, today I understood a whole podcast episode. It's encouraging to look back and see that progress.
That's a brilliant idea. Sometimes we're so focused on what's left to do that we forget how far we've come.
That's exactly it. And sharing those wins even with a friend or in a language group can give you that extra boost on the tough days.
Let's get practical for our listeners. If someone wants to improve their time management starting today, what's the first step you'd recommend?
Start by tracking your time for a day or two. Just jot down what you do and when. You might be surprised by where your time goes, and spotting those hidden pockets can be a game changer.
I love that. Sometimes just seeing your real schedule on paper is such an eye-opener. Then you can decide, what can I swap out for a study session?
Exactly. And remember, you don't need a huge chunk of time. 5 or 10 minutes here and there add up faster than you think.
Before we wrap up, I just want to say if you're listening right now, you're already taking a big step toward your goals, and we're cheering for you every step of the way.
Couldn't agree more. Language learning and time management are both journeys, not quick fixes. Celebrate your progress, be kind to yourself, and keep showing up.
And hey, if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We've got tons more tips and real talk conversations coming your way.
We'd love to have you with us for the next episode. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep learning and keep growing.